My name is Dayna, mom of 3 girls and creator of the blog and YouTube channel, This Yellow Farmhouse. Join me as I share with you my love for creating a cozy home, homebody knitwear, and a little mom and farm life along the way. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Farmhouse Knitting Podcast. How are you guys? We are starting to thaw out a little bit from our winter, and I'm really excited for spring. We just have a lot of snow. We had a lot of freezing days and a lot of snow. So wherever you are and whatever your weather is like, I hope you're doing really well, and I hope you're cozy, whether you're inside because it's still cold or if you are outside enjoying the weather when it's warmed up for you guys. So last episode, I announced a giveaway, and I'm happy to say that I have the winner, and her name is Emily. I posted it in the description of this video. So Emily, please reach out to me. You can send me a message on any of the social things as This Yellow Farmhouse, or send me an email at thisyellowfarmhouse@gmail.com, and I'll get your info and send over your pattern and your yarn. And yeah, thank you guys to everyone who entered the giveaway. And yeah, it was really fun to do. I've never done a giveaway yet, and I definitely plan to do more in the future. That was just my first one, and it was really fun. I hope you guys had fun. So like I said, spring is starting to come. We are almost into March here, and I was sitting out on the front porch today with my husband because it actually wasn't freezing. I think we were almost to like 50 degrees today, and so we were out there, we were wearing our coats with our hoods up and stuff, and we had our chairs in the sun, so it wasn't terrible. And we were noticing that next to the porch were some lilies that were just starting to pop up. Some new leaves are starting to pop up, and so that was really exciting. And we've also noticed a lot of new birds, not new that we've never seen, but just ones we haven't been seeing all winter long, coming to our bird feeder. And really all sorts of animals coming to our bird feeder. So I don't know if they can't find food anywhere else. They've like exhausted their stash of food. But we actually had 2 days this week where we had the deer, like a lot of deer, come right up to our backyard. So I was counting maybe like 10, at least 10 of them were right on the other side of like the tree line for our woods, and a couple of them got brave and came up to our garden fence, like almost to the front of the garden fence. And then this morning, I swear I was having a dream because I was still kind of out of it. My husband and the kids came in right away because they were so excited that there were deer. I think there were 3 of them that were right outside at our apple tree. So all the animals are kind of getting curious about where some more food is, and things are probably starting to thaw out, and so maybe they can smell things are kind of popping up from the ground. And I always think it's funny because a lot of times we'll hear spring is in the air, and I don't think that's true for us yet. The air is still kind of cold, and there's sunshine today, but a lot of spring, like the early signs of spring that I'm seeing right now, are actually coming from the ground. So instead of spring in the air, it's kind of in the ground. It's a lot of things popping up, and especially as our snow starts to melt, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more early signs of spring. Like I said, it's barely March, or not even March. February is, when is the last day of February? Sunday, I think? Thank goodness it was a short month. But yeah, it's a nice feeling to go outside and see some life out there besides like squirrels who are really, really buffed up for winter, and all the same birds and stuff, which it's always fun to see cardinals out there, but it's definitely cool to see life, which means that spring's right behind it. So we're excited about that. We drove into town this morning. We brought my daughter to swimming lessons. And so we drove into town and through town today, and we were marveling at how a lot of the front yards that are flat and with the sun shining straight down on them, a lot of them have a lot of snow already melted. Not the entire thing, but a lot of snow. Like some of them, it was half of their front yard. And we were just marveling at the amount of snow that we still have on our hill, which kind of is the opposite of what we would think, because we're on a hill, so you would think like, oh, the water's it's gonna melt, the snow's gonna melt, and the water's gonna drain down the hill, either side. But because we have woods and trees like in our whole backyard and surrounding our house, we don't get as much of the sun. I mean, we get the sun filtering through, but it's not like the sun doesn't shine down on any one spot for a long period of time during the day. So it'll be a while. We have a bunch of 50-degree days coming up. I think all of next week actually is supposed to be really warm for this time of year in Illinois. And yeah, my husband was like, don't get your hopes up too much though, because I don't think the snow is going anywhere yet. So then I was joking to him, and I was like, well, maybe you guys can get a shovel out and like thin out the giant piles of snow so that the sun doesn't have to work so hard on those spots, and that then it will melt a little sooner, because that would be nice. I'm ready for more greenery, and I know once this is gonna melt, it's gonna turn into that soupy mess. Our driveway already is getting that way, where anytime we walk to and from the car, I have to remind the girls, like, don't jump in the muddy puddles. I know you really want to. We'll come do it later. We'll get your rain boots on, but like, we're going to the doctor and I don't want you splattered with mud or something like that. So yeah, I know that's coming, and I want to peel the layer of snow off and then the sun can dry it up there, because I'm dying for the days where I can lay a blanket out in the backyard and the girls run around and play, and I can just kind of set up with Lucy. And it will be interesting to see, because she's 10 months old and she's crawling everywhere. She's taken a few steps here and there, but it's like when she's distracted, and if she's like eating little Cheerios and she forgets that she let go of holding onto the couch, she's taken a couple steps here and there, but mostly she is really fast at crawling. And she's definitely at this age our most adventurous baby. So I don't think I'll keep her contained on this unsaid blanket outside. I think she's going to be the kid who's going to try to eat dirt and grass and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how relaxing it is out there. But it is nice to think about that. That's coming up really soon. I noticed another way that we can tell spring is in the air is because if you are on like Instagram, or I guess even Facebook, you're probably noticing, like I am, that a lot of knitting designers they're not showing as much of the chunky knit sweaters and blankets and stuff, and they're starting to show off either finished things or like the beginnings of more drop stitch knitted sweaters, or like airy crocheted sweaters, and some like spring shirts, summer shirts. And so I always think that's kind of cool, is another way that knitters can tell spring is coming, is you see less of like the really thick wool and the Fair Isle and the cable knits, and you see people pulling out their big needles or doing lace work and stuff like that. So this is our second spring here in this farmhouse. We moved in 2 summers ago, so we have been here for 2 falls and 2 winters, 2 summers, like barely a summer, and then an entire summer. So we moved in August. So yeah, we've seen this house in all of its seasons now, and I have some fun ways to share with you, just ways to tell like signs of spring in the country. Like at our farmhouse, this is what we have consistently seen. So the first thing is birds are singing, and like I said, we're seeing brighter varieties coming to our feeder, just more different types than our usual blue jays and cardinals. And we get a lot of like, I think they're like just chickadees. I think we got a lot of pretty much those birds in the winter. And now we're getting all sorts of things. So another thing is that sap is flowing. My husband is so excited because he is collecting sap from our black walnut trees. And if you don't know, you can collect sap and make syrup from walnut trees. We do not have any sugar maple trees at our house, so he learned about this, and he has like the little tap and the bucket and all that. And so for the past bunch of days, he and the girls are so excited. They want to go out and check every day, and I tell them, wait till Daddy gets home. And then as soon as he gets home from work, it's like just light enough, and sometimes they have to take a flashlight, but just perfect enough for them to go outside and go check the bucket. And they're so excited. He thinks it's gonna be, or so far it's about like 4 ounces of syrup, because it starts as sap and then you boil it all down and it thickens up, and it actually will become way less than you actually have as sap at first. But that's always a fun time of year, is watching that, and the girls get so excited. And somebody that works with my husband was actually asking, like, are you doing it again this year? And do the girls actually like it? And so my husband had to be like, actually, yeah, our oldest prefers it. She's like either pure maple syrup or she loves walnut syrup, and she loves those. We just ran out of Trader Joe's maple syrup, and I think we had like Mrs. Butterworth or something like that, and she was like, okay, like, all right, I guess that's good too. Whereas me as a kid, I was like, that was the best thing ever, syrup. To me, that was like pure maple syrup, but I never knew a difference. So it's kind of cool that they're growing up knowing these different types of things in the syrup world. So I actually have not tried the walnut syrup yet. I couldn't last year. Let me think. I couldn't this time last year because I was pregnant, and you're not supposed to have black walnut syrup when you're pregnant. And then I can't this year because I'm still breastfeeding Lucy, and you're also not supposed to have it when you're doing that. So hopefully if there's any left, or probably more likely actually next year. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to have any this year. So yeah, I'm excited to try it. Supposedly it's really good and sugary. I don't know what about it is unsafe. I understand like when you're pregnant, because there's a lot of stuff you're not supposed to have when you're pregnant. But breastfeeding, I'm not really sure what's in it that you're not supposed to have. But yeah, that will be definitely an exciting moment, my third spring here, that I'll actually be able to try our homemade black walnut syrup. So that's exciting. Okay, I went off on a syrup tangent. Okay, the third way that you can tell spring is in the country are that the trees are budding. So we can tell, like I said, we have a lot of trees, we have woods. I have not actually been out in the woods, like for a walk in the woods all winter long. That's pretty much been my husband's thing. He takes the girls out there and they love going out back. So I don't know the status of trees in our woods. But that's definitely been a sign for us before, is that it's like frozen tundra out here, but then once you go back into the woods, kind of like if it's it's raining or it's really cold outside, you go back in the woods and it's so nice and warm, which is weird because there's no sun in there, but it's like a whole other ecosystem in there, and things are budding, and like I almost feel like sometimes the signs of spring come sooner in the woods than they do out here. Okay, the fourth way that you can tell spring is coming to the country is that there are about a bajillion holes revealed in the dirt roads and in the gravel driveways. So snow melts, ice melts, icicles fall from your gutter, and you start to see the damage that all that left. And for us, we don't live on a dirt road, but I have seen there are a few more holes that they're going to need to patch in our road. But our driveway is gravel, and we have a lot going on there right now as far as holes. And then our front porch and our walkway is all like stone, which my husband was just pointing out we're probably going to have to pour cement to kind of fill some of those holes, because a lot of the icicles did a lot of damage on our front porch this year, like right outside, um, basically the main walkway. So a combination of icicles falling there and then just the use and the traffic from that, from us coming in and out. Okay, the fifth way, I'm on five, right? Fifth way that you can see early signs of spring in the country is when the plastic, like the 3M plastic, comes off of the really old windows because it's not so freezing anymore. So for us, we have in most of our downstairs, we have like original 1830s windows, and it's the kind where you have to pull up and then you have to prop up with something. And also, anytime a car drives by, or I guess a big car drives by on the road, it kind of rattles the window. That's how old our windows are. And this year we had to get that plastic that you put up and then you use the hair dryer. And we have done just like plastic wrap, clear wrap in the past. This year we just tried getting a kit. We got a few kits because we had a lot of windows. And it worked so much better. I mean, I'm sure it was also less of a headache for him to like install because clear wrap or cling wrap is impossible to deal with anyway. I mean, I can barely wrap like a casserole dish with that without losing my mind. And yeah, so doing entire windows, like floor to ceiling windows, is a lot with that. But it definitely was worth it to have in the winter. It kept us warm inside here, but yes, a sign of spring is when you're finally, maybe you're not ready to open the windows yet. We haven't opened our windows yet, but when you can finally take that plastic off the windows and like let the windows breathe a little bit. Our next step will be opening the windows, and we like to do like just an air out day where we honestly open our windows and for a few hours, like everyone just wears a few more layers and just let the cross breeze go across our house and just bring in some fresh, cold air and bring out all the old, dusty winter air. And then also wipe down all the tops of the fans and dust and just get some fresh, good air in here. So that'll be coming up soon. So sadly, I have nothing to share knitting-wise. I have not done any knitting. I haven't done anything on my computer. I just finally went in and read your comments from the last episode. It's been crazy and I haven't had a chance to do any of that. So, like I said, no knitting to share with you guys this time. Possibly next episode, we'll see. I actually can say that there will not be an episode next week. I'm going to shoot for in 2 weeks from now. And yeah, fingers crossed that works out. And yeah, that is all I have for you guys. It's a short and sweet one today where I'm just shooting the breeze about spring being not in the air, spring being in the ground with you guys. So thanks for listening to another episode. And yeah, like I said, thank you for entering last week's giveaway. And Emily, send me a message, send me an email. And I will talk to you guys next episode. Thank you guys. Stay cozy.